Have you ever wondered what happens when an imaginary friend stops being friendly? Every child has a secret world, a place where imagination reigns supreme. But what if that secret world turned against you? This is the story of Lily, a little girl whose imaginary friend became her worst nightmare. A chilling tale that blurs the line between make-believe and a reality far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The story begins in the comforting glow of a sun-drenched suburban home. In her brightly lit room, a young girl named Lily played with joyful abandon, her giggles echoing softly off the walls. She chattered away, not to a doll or a stuffed animal, but to an empty space beside her, to any onlooker. It was a classic scene of childhood innocence. When asked, Lily would beam, describing her special friend, Mr. Snuggles, with a pure, unadulterated delight that warmed her parents' hearts. Her world was simple and happy, contained within the four walls of her room with a view of a slightly unkempt garden and the dark, old woods that lay just beyond. One afternoon, her mother found her drawing a picture. It showed Lily holding hands with a large, shadowy figure, its features indistinct but its presence undeniable. "How creative," her mother remarked with a smile, seeing only the boundless imagination of her daughter at play, never suspecting the true nature of the figure taking shape on the paper. However, the warmth soon began to recede from their idyllic home. A few days later, a subtle chill seemed to permeate the house, and the once bright rooms felt darker, more confining. Lily's cheerful disposition soured, replaced by a sullen and demanding attitude. She would insist on strange requests, her small voice firm as she declared, "Mr. Snuggles told me to." Her parents, initially dismissing it as a phase, started exchanging worried glances as household items began to appear in odd places, moved by an unseen hand. A tension coiled in the air, punctuated by unsettling moments, like the sight of a toy rocking chair swaying back and forth on its own before coming to an abrupt, silent halt. The unease grew when Lily's friend, Tom, came over to play. He seemed nervous, his eyes darting towards the shadows in the corners. In a hushed whisper, he confessed that his own imaginary friend had been acting strangely, saying mean things and making him feel scared. As they spoke, a fleeting, dark shape passed behind them in the hallway, a blinking dumicet movement that left a cold dread in its wake. The true horror unveiled itself one night. Lily was jolted from her sleep by a chorus of faint, insidious whispers. Compelled by a force she didn't understand, she crept from her bed and followed the sound down the dark, eerily silent hall. Peering into the dream-filled rooms of her family, she saw a horrifying multiple indistinct shadow figures were interacting with other children, their forms coalescing in the ethereal space of slumber. A wave of cold terror washed over her as the realization struck. These were not figments of imagination. They were real, returning to her room, her heart pounding. She found her personal nightmare waiting. The ill-defined drawing of Mr. Snuggles now stood as a distinct, terrifyingly solid shadow figure by her bed. Its eyes, 2 points of malevolent red light, glowed in the darkness. It slowly extended a long, skeletal hand towards her small, trembling form. Lily opened her mouth to scream, but no sound emerged. Her terror swallowed by a sudden, absolute darkness that consumed the room entirely. The next morning, chaos erupted. Lily's parents burst into her room to find it in complete disarray. Furniture overturned and toys scattered as if by a violent storm. Their daughter was huddled in a corner, her body shaking, her face a mask of pure terror. She tried to speak, to explain the night's horrors, but her words failed her. All she could do was point a trembling finger at the familiar shadows in the room, now imbued with a terrifying new meaning. There was no discussion, only a frantic, shared understanding. The family threw their belongings into the car with desperate speed, abandoning the house and the darkness that had taken root within it. As they drove away, a final glance back revealed the house standing silent and ominous against the morning sky. For a brief, chilling moment, a subtle, shadowy form materialized in an upper window, its gaze following their escape. Then it was gone, leaving only the lingering, unspoken question of how many other children had a friend just like Mr.